Shermantown ag lender, member FDIC.
With NWKS Radio News, I'm Lucas Kenny. Colby resident Tracy Rogers has been selected to receive the Colby Community College 2026 Honorary Associate degree for his decades of service and leadership in Northwest Kansas. The degree will be conferred during the college's commencement ceremony on May 15th at the Colby Event Center. Rogers said his philosophy on service, which has guided both his career and volunteer efforts, is reflected in a message about success displayed in his office. In other news, a semi-truck overturned last Thursday afternoon along Interstate 70 in Sherman County. According to the Kansas Highway Patrol, the crash occurred at approximately 4:38 p.m. on April 9th near mile marker 30.7, about 13 miles east of Goodland. The driver, 58-year-old William Anthony Beecham of Rugby, North Dakota, was transported to Goodland Regional Medical Center with suspected minor injuries. For these news stories and others, make sure to go check out our website, nwksradio.net.
A red flag warning is in effect today for counties along and south of Highway 24, with southwesterly winds 15 to 25, gusting to 35 miles per hour. With sunny skies much of the day and some clouds later this afternoon evening, highs will reach to around 80. Late afternoon, evening, overnight showers and storm chances are possible in northeast Colorado and southwest Nebraska, while northwest Kansas is dry slotted with lows in the lower 40s. Tomorrow will be mostly cloudy. Could see some sprinkles or light showers in the morning. A bit cooler with highs in the lower 70s and northwest winds at 15 to 25, gusting to 35 miles per hour. Fire weather conditions could be elevated with lows in the lower 40s. Thursday will be sunny with highs returning to 80 to 85 degrees with southwest winds at 15 to 25, gusting to 35 miles per hour. This meteorologist Chris Schromick in the NWKS Radio Weather Center.
Got your tax refund? Don't blow it. Upgrade it at Hurl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland. Get into a 26 GMC Sierra 1500 up to $7,000 in rebates or 2.9% for 48 months. Or into a 26 GMC Sierra 2500, $1,000 rebate or 4.9% for 48 months. And the 26 GMC Acadia 2.9% APR plus $750 in rebates with GM Financial. Your refund won't last, but a new GMC will. Stop by Hurl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland or visit hurlchev.com.
At Ray Community District Hospital and Clinic, they believe in promoting healthier living through compassionate quality care. From state-of-the-art maternity care to life-saving emergency services, their dedicated team is there for you and your family. Whether it's managing diabetes, navigating recovery, or receiving specialized treatments, they're committed to your well-being. Discover the difference a community-focused hospital can make. Visit rayhospital.org today to learn more. Ray Community District Hospital and Clinic. Your health, our priority.
Here's a bright idea. Kansas deserves fiber internet. Not just Kansas City and Wichita. Little places like Buhler. That's where we started. IdeaTech provides high-speed fiber internet to 75 communities and counting. We're working to bring fiber to as many towns in Kansas as we can. High-speed internet shouldn't just be for the big cities. Another bright idea from IdeaTech.
Get IdeaTech fiber internet at ideatech.com.
You can feel it in the air. Longer days, greener lawns, and plenty of projects waiting around the house. Good thing Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware in Goodland has you covered. Freshen up your home with Benjamin Moore paint, tackle the yard with powerful Ego battery tools, and give your lawn the boost it needs with Stage 1 Ultimate Fertilizer. Thinking about cooking outside? Check out their great selection of grills, griddles, smokers, and outdoor living essentials. And remember, if you need it, Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware probably has it. They even have milk. Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware in Goodland and Colby, your place for just about everything.
When fraud strikes, every second counts. At FNB Bank, we take your security seriously. Our local team monitors for suspicious activity and responds fast, so small issues don't turn into bigger problems. I'm Jessica Von Little at FNB Bank. We are your first line of defense, protecting you, your money, and your peace of mind. FNB Bank, local, trusted, here for you. Member FDIC.
It is back. It is the annual NWKS radio auction this year, Friday, April 17th, a full day of savings where you could save 50, 60, 70, even 80% off retail items and services around the tri-state area. Now, we've got this ever-growing list with pictures and descriptions online, nwksradio.net, so check back multiple times a day, and then that sale bill will come out right before the auction starts. Again, that is Friday, April 17th, the annual radio auction right here on this NWKS radio station.
You ready? Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4! It's time for the Morning Blitz with Ross Volkmer.
There is a benefit to building a team and keeping it together for the length of time, but that does not happen anymore because of the portal and NIL and money.
The High Plains only local sports talk show, broadcasting live on Goodland's Rocket 102.5 and video streaming on YouTube, Facebook, and X.
Who's got it better than us? Nobody!
Covering it all from the preps to the pros.
It's gone! Watch it fly! Jack Caglione! His first big league home run!
The Blitz is presented by Pearl Chevrolet GMC, Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware, and F&B Bank, along with
Pestaway LLC, Topside Portables and Pumping, Equity Bank of Hoxie, Quinter, and Grinnell, and the Insurance Agency.
Let's go to work.
3-2. Called strike three. A beautiful pitch from Caden Smith as she strikes out Bryn Rebel and retires her for the first time this afternoon. Here's Fisher hitting one out towards left, driving back, and it's over the head of the left fielder there in Gottschalk. It's going to be a stand-up leadoff double for Danny Fisher. That is her team-leading third double of the season for Danny Fisher.
And there goes the ball. Trout sends one deep into the night. He's done it again. Mike Trout with his second home run. An absolute blast. And at long last, the Angels have taken the lead. Blazing right up the middle. McKinnon holding, stopping. McKinnon, he scores! And he ruins the party for the Edmonton Oilers. Ingram breaks the stick on the crossbar. Nathan McKinnon gets the shootout winner, and the Avalanche get the 2 points.
Good Tuesday morning, everybody. Welcome inside the Morning Blitz on this April the 14th. Another nice spring morning out there. Plenty of sunshine. Going to need those shades this morning driving around, but fair and 42. And temperature is going to be in the upper 70s here on this Tuesday. But glad you decided to join us here for another edition of the Morning Blitz today, where today we'll be visiting with Todd Kane. Colby High School baseball coach will join me today. We'll talk with Todd about the interesting start to the season for the Colby High School baseball team. Get a couple of nice wins against Goodland, and then have a couple of really tough opponents and struggle to get a few wins, and then get a nice walk-off win against Burlington. They're in action today against Scott City today. And so we will be visiting with Coach Todd Kane about that coming up in our second segment. Speaking of baseball today, a very busy day local sports-wise. It is the busiest local sports day of the week this week. Tons of things going on, and particularly in Goodland with the Goodland Golf Invitational happening at Sugar Hills Golf Club. Also, of course, the Goodland Track and Field Invitational happening today. So it's a busy day in Goodland with a lot of local sporting events happening and around the listening area as well, with other baseball, softball, track and field, some tennis as well. So plenty of things to be at today on the local sports side of things. We'll get to some more in-depth on the busiest day of the week, of the sports week, at least locally here today. There's some news surrounding the basketball portal from yesterday. Casey Alexander, the head coach, new first-year head coach for Kansas State, continues to bring in pieces to completely reshape the roster in his image. We'll get you some news and information on a couple of players they brought in and have signed yesterday. And Kansas gets some good news as well when it comes to continuity. We'll get to that a little bit later on as well, and we'll touch on some softball results from yesterday too here in segment number 1. So two things. First and foremost, the good news. The good news is, well, there's not really any bad news, but the first good news is the F&B Bank text line is back up and running. So 785-899-2222. If you'd like to be part of the Morning Blitz, you can now do so again. I apologize for Friday and Monday shows with the issues we were having. It was something on the text edits end, and I thought I followed the rules correctly on how to log back in and the right information. But it didn't work. Retry it again in a little bit of a different way. It did work. And so if you want to hit us up, FNB Bank text line is open at 785-899-2222. You can also get your thoughts and comments in on Facebook, YouTube as well through the Hurl Chevrolet GMC video stream. Whatever way is more convenient for you, we can see you always here on the Morning Blitz. But the FNB Bank text line is open at 785-899-2222, which leads me into kind of a little opening thought here. Speaking of the text line, you can text the word auction, AUCTION, auction to 785-899-2222, or other text line, 785-443-0790 if you'd like to. You can text those two numbers, the word auction, and you can get the sale bill sent to you from our NWKS radio auction. You go to NWKSradio.net right now, and they have a sale bill that is now up and visible. So if you would like to go and take a look at the items that are going to be on the auction for this year's April 6th, Friday, April 16th auction, although I think the link might be bad to this one that I touched, but nonetheless, you can go online to NWKSradio.net. And then on the left side of the web page is the NWKS radio auction. It's kind of a greenish blue box with a microphone in it. And you can go take a look at that and see all the items that are going to be in this year's radio auction. It's a very big list, a lot of different items. My goodness, you can go and take a look at all different kind gift certificates, dry, like a clothes dryer. How about a nacho station? A few of the things that you see there. You've got tons of gift certificates, golf outings, short weekend trips, classes. There's a fire pit in here. There's some guttering and some gutter coverings to prevent leaves from getting up in your gutters. As I've mentioned many times before, tons of gift certificates and some really great items once again for our ag listeners. Once again, whether it's cattle or grain farmer, whatever you may be, or both, there is going to be some really great items that I think you should take advantage of, because I think you're going to get some really good deals on some stuff to help with your growing season this year, or help with your farming operation. So make sure you go to nwksradio.net and then click on the radio auction thing and then get your pick there. Or, of course, you can hit us up with the word auction to our text line, 785-899-2222. Hit text the word auction, and it will respond with a link to then go to that auction page. You can find all the information you want. So once again, I can't speak enough about the radio auction. A huge day on Friday. Once again, because of Friday, if there is some bad news, there is no Morning Blitz on Friday, because we start at, we'll be already going now for 45 minutes. I think it starts at 8:30 Central. Or no, I guess going here in about 15 minutes. Excuse me. So it'll be going here in about 15 minutes from right now on Friday. And make sure you're tuning in and listening. Great deals on all kinds of things with this year's radio auction. All righty. Kicking off the show here on the Morning Blitz. Yesterday, a little bit of softball. Wasn't an extremely busy day on the local sports side of things. Just want to highlight this real quick. First and foremost, Colby Community College softball, a split yesterday with a top 25 team again. They have played McCook Community College softball now 4 times on the season, 2 doubleheaders. And the Lady Trojans have split both of those series with McCook. And so they both won 2. Yesterday, Lady Trojans losing 5-1 in the first game, but bounced back to win game 2, 4-3. So they've got 2 ranked wins. Does Colby Community College softball outside of conference play, as they pick up a split with McCook Community College. I think they've only lost like 6 or 7, I think is all they've lost this year. And a couple of those have come to Colby Community College, but 24-17 is Colby Community College softball after a split yesterday against McCook. And then also yesterday, I was in Hayes at TMP High School, where Goodland softball played in a hot and windy day. I was describing it as, it was one of those days that just sucked the moisture right out of you there in Hayes. I mean, it was temperatures in the upper 80s, and the wind was blowing anywhere from 20 to 30 miles per hour. It was one of those days, like I said, you want to see it probably in like late June when you're ready to harvest your wheat and you're like, we need to dry this crop out, that would be the thing that would come through and just completely dry it out. It was one of those days for sure there in Hayes. Goodland losing both of those games, 12-2 in 5 innings in game 1 and then 11-0 in game number 2, dropping the Cowgirls to 2-6 on the season. But I don't know. I guess I thought yesterday, despite the scores, I thought Goodland played pretty well. TMP's a really good program. They've got some very talented players. And, Goodland jumped out on top in game number 1, got the first run of the game, but TMP's just they play great defense first and foremost. They're so sound defensively, and they hit the ball really well. Hit the ball really well, and they run the bases extremely well. Those are 3 things I think TMP does very, very well, or at least they did yesterday. And Goodland had some defensive mishaps. Some of it due to the wind, some of it due to miscommunication in the defensive side, but overall, they got good pitch performances out of both Allie Cure as well as Cadence Smith. Both of them pitched and threw very well. I think Cadence maybe had one of her better outings of her young career. Cowgirls hit the ball decently well. Just TMP is a really good defensive team. And when those kind of things happen, you end up losing these type of games, and that's what happened with the Cowgirls yesterday. 12-2 and 11-0, both games over in 5 innings, but they weren't bad games. I thought they were semi-competitive, like one of those games where it's just like the team completely just blew out the other. But the Cowgirls, they've kind of gotten through the tough portion of the season. They were, they had to take on, they've taken on Garden City. They've taken on a really good Colby program. They've taken on Hayes TMP now. They've taken on some really tough teams. Now they kind of get back into league play. They've got Ulysses coming up here. Actually, on Friday, they will go to Waukene for their, I think it's the first year of that softball program for Waukene, but they will play them. So I think there's a good chance for the Cowgirls to start picking up some momentum here. Now they've gone past these first 8 games where they go 2-6, and 6 of those teams are against some really, really good opponents. And so they have a chance to pick up some momentum here through the middle portion of the season. But that's what happened yesterday in softball. I want to make a hard transition here as we get late in this first segment, and we will be visiting with Colby High School baseball coach Todd Kane coming up here in a little bit, discussing the 2026 baseball season for the Colby Eagles, as he's our guest of the day. But I do want to get to some news yesterday surrounding KU and K-State basketball, as there was some news that Kansas State has continued to add pieces to its roster. With new head coach Casey Alexander. Once again, he pretty much is going to have to rebuild this thing from the ground up, it seems like. But K-State added a couple of pieces yesterday. They added a 7'1" big man from New Mexico. JT Rock is his name. JT Rock has committed to Kansas State yesterday. He redshirted his first year before appearing in 9 games for Iowa State. He spent his first 2 seasons at Iowa State. He then transferred to New Mexico, where he averaged just 6 points, 3.5 rebounds, did lead the New Mexico Lobos in blocks with 34. He also knocked down 23 shots from 3-point range as a 7'1" big man, which was a program record at New Mexico. I don't know how. I can't imagine that 23 shots from 3-point range on the season, a program record. That's a program record, maybe because of his size. The first player over 7 foot to knock down 23 shots, for 20 plus shots from 3. That seems like a ridiculous stat. But he was a 4-star recruit out of high school, had tons of offers. But JT Rock is going to come to Kansas State. And many people believe that Rock's best basketball is still ahead of him. So they added the 7'1" transfer, JT Rock. And then they also added Jaden, I think it's either Shutt or Shoot. I'm guessing it's Shutt. Jaden Shutt to Kansas State. He spent 2 seasons at Duke before he was at Virginia Tech for the last 2 seasons. So he's coming in for his final season at K-State. He was a starter in his first season at Virginia Tech. He led the team in minutes before coming off the bench this past season, where he did lead the Hokies in 3-point shooting for the second consecutive season with 65 made attempts. He attempted at least 5 3-pointers each game in each of his 2 seasons at Virginia Tech. And so you're kind of seeing what Casey Alexander is looking for. And Casey Alexander said it in his opening press conference. He says, we're trying to build some continuity. He says we're trying not to dip into the portal heavy every year, although he says it's probably going to happen here in year number 1. And you're seeing that, with a lot of guys exiting the program. He's bringing in his own guys, is Casey Alexander. And you're seeing a bunch of guys that can make a lot of outside jumpers, no matter, and all different sizes and shapes, to be honest with you. You've got a 7'1" guy that can make threes. You've got a 6'5" guy that can make threes. By the way, Shutt was the 2022 Gatorade Player of the Year in Illinois, a 4-star prospect. So he's had some talent. When it was like, if you got recruited to go to Duke, you had to have something. It just didn't work out there for Jaden Shutt. But now he's at Kansas State, and we'll see what he can do here in his final year of eligibility. Well, at least you think in today's realm. What do we know? But yeah, it's you're seeing what Kansas State wants to do. You're seeing a clear picture. I think with Jerome Tang, I don't know if I feel if Jerome Tang, it was more along, let's just go get the absolute best players that we can get, and then we'll try to force them to play together. All the best offensive players we can get and try to get them to play together. And just don't feel like it really ever worked a whole lot, obviously. And now you're seeing, at least one of the questions that was asked with Coach Alexander was, what kind of players are you looking for? And he goes, we need to find guys that know how to shoot the basketball. And you're seeing a lot of that in this first recruiting class with guys that know how to shoot, particularly from 3. K-State is going to attempt a lot of 3-pointers in the coming years. They're going to shoot a lot of threes. And the thing is, you better make around 35 to 40% of them if you're going to live and die by the 3. I don't know if they're going to live and die by the 3, but they're going to attempt a lot of threes. And you're seeing it with the players that they have gone after and with the players they've been able to bring in. Everybody seems to have some sort of ability to knock down the 3-point shot. Honestly, the recruiting is very similar to what we've seen at Nebraska with Fred Hoiberg. He's done a lot of the same thing. He's looking for shooters, guys that of all 1 through 5 can step outside the 3-point line and knock down a shot, because when you can do that, you can pull the defense away from the basket, including the 5-man, which then allows you to able to get driving lanes and backdoor cuts. And I think we're going to see a lot of that with Casey Alexander at Kansas State with what we've seen thus far in his recruiting. And it'll be interesting to see if he can get all these guys to play together. Brian texts in, the 7-foot guy's not inside. I'm sure he can play inside, Brian. I'm not saying that he can't, but I'm guessing that it's, I just said that he holds the record for, I guess, the most 3-pointers made by a 7-footer in New Mexico basketball history. So, what a ridiculous stat that is, first and foremost. But nonetheless, you go out there and you knock down some threes. You're going to pull people away from the basket. But yeah, it's the way the game is, guys. There's a lot of coaches out there believe that you've got to have 1 through 5 that can at least have the ability to knock down the 3 and the threat to knock down the 3, so that the opposition has to come away from the basket, then making it easier inside when you want to go in there. So that's what it looks like for Kansas State with what they're trying to attempt. Thanks, Brian. And then, so that was the news on Kansas State. Like I said, they've continued to add lots of pieces through the portal. Kansas got some news yesterday, as well as now to be sophomore guard Cole Rosario announced that he will return to Kansas next season. He played in 29 games, starting in 6 last year, only averaged 3.4 points, 1.3 rebounds. A kid that that was a guy who got his feet wet last year. Definitely flashed a ton of athleticism, a freak on the floor for in Cole Rosario. And I think him coming back gives a little bit of continuity to this KU team, which we're going to see a lot of new faces on the floor for KU. He might be the only guy that's going to be hanging around, because I think a lot of everybody else has been in the portal, or is at least in the portal right now, or if you're like Florida, they've left and they're going to Louisville. So I don't know. Cole Rosario said he will be back for Kansas. Remember, he's a younger kid. He reclassified to the 2020 from the 2026 class to 2025. So he's a very young guy, but he's got the ability to shoot. He's got the ability to drive and finish at the rim, being highly athletic. I think it's a great keep there for Kansas, and we will see if they build a little bit around him, or if he just continues to be a piece that comes off the bench, or maybe he's now in the starting lineup. as maybe a 2 or a 3. But Kansas basketball at least going to get some continuity back, but it does look like KU is going to be doing a lot of rebuilding as well with this next year's roster. But Cole Rosario is not one of those pieces. He will be back next season. So there you go. Some updated portal news, which is about the only thing happening in the sports world right now. I mean, it truly is. I mean, yeah, anyway, there was the WNBA draft yesterday. There was, and the WNBA draft going on, which I thought was interesting that AZ Fudd is going to the same place as Paige Becker because they're dating. That seems kind of interesting to me, but whatever. Not that she is a very talented basketball player nonetheless, but I thought that was interesting. And then, of course, the NBA playoffs get going tonight. We'll touch on that more in the walk-off, I think. But, yeah, I mean, it's kind of a slow sports time. So the really only thing that's happening is kind of the basketball transfer portal for original schools. So anyway, let's get to our first break. We'll return. We're going to talk a little Colby High School baseball. Todd Kane will join us, the skipper for the Eagles. He will visit with us next and talk about the season that is thus far for Colby High School baseball next here on the Morning Blitz.
Got your tax refund? Don't blow it. Upgrade it at Hurl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland. Get into a 26 GMC Sierra 1500 up to $7,000 in rebates or 2.9% for 48 months. Or into a 26 GMC Sierra 2500 $1,000 rebate or 4.9% for 48 months. And the 26 GMC Acadia 2.9% APR plus $750 in rebates with GM Financial. Your refund won't last, but a new GMC will. Stop by Hurl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland or visit hurlchev.com.
You can feel it in the air. Longer days, greener lawns, and plenty of projects waiting around the house. Good thing Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware in Goodland has you covered. Freshen up your home with Benjamin Moore paint, tackle the yard with powerful Ego battery tools, and give your lawn the boost it needs with Stage 1 Ultimate Fertilizer. Thinking about cooking outside? Check out their great selection of grills, griddles, smokers, and outdoor living essentials. And remember, if you need it, Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware probably has it. They even have milk. Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware in Goodland and Colby, your place for just about everything.
It's time for a check of the markets with the Anderson Trade Group on the Kansas Farm and Ranch Radio Network.
Good morning. This is Kate Thompson with Skyland Grain. Today is Tuesday, April 14th. Grains firmer on the overnight session with May corn higher 2 1/4 at 4.43 1/4. July up 2 cents at 4.53 3/4. December corn up 1 3/4 at 4.73. May soybeans up 5 1/4 at 11.66 1/4. July up 5 1/2 at 11.81. November beans up 3 3/4 at 11.51 3/4. Kansas City wheat to May contract higher 4 3/4 at 6.08. July up 5 1/4 at 6.21 3/4. December hard wheat up 4 1/4 at 6.51 1/2. Chicago wheat to May contract higher 1 1/4 at 5.83. July up 1 3/4 at 5.92 1/4. December soft wheat up 1 1/4 at 6.22 1/4. On the equity side of things this morning, the Dow up $35 at 48,460. The S&P up 15 at 6,938. The Nasdaq up 124 at 25,668. Gold higher $23.70 an ounce at $4,791.10. Crude oil down $3.20 this morning at $95.88. If you have any questions about marketing grain or would like to talk about risk management options, give our Colorado office a call, John Hanke or John Stiles at 970-744-4484. Our Kansas City office, you can call Tyler Dosch, Tom Polito, or Jared Law at 913-748-3000. Or our Ulysses office, Cindy Warner, Austin Wright, or myself, Kate Thompson at 602-356-7800.
The Anderson Trade Group, proud market partners with Kansas Farm and Ranch Radio. Find out more at andersongrain.com. The risk of loss through trading futures and or options is substantial, and each investor or trader must consider whether this is a suitable investment. Past performance, whether actual or indicated, is not indicative of future results. The Anderson Trade Group has no guarantee that the advice given will result in profitable trades.
Foley Rental is your locally owned equipment rental store for commercial, industrial, farm, and residential projects with a large fleet of aerial lifts, telehandlers, generators, trench shoring, and temperature control equipment.
Plans that allow you to extend your UAN supply while providing essential sulfur to your crop. Thiosulfates also protect your nitrogen investment by reducing losses through both nitrate leaching and denitrification, keeping more nitrogen available for your corn. Protect your nitrogen investment and increase yields with KTS and Thiasol. Call your local ag dealer today or visit TessenderLocurley.com.
It's game time.
What time is it? Game time!
You're listening to the Morning Blitz.
All right, 8:32 Central, 7:32 Mountain Time on a Tuesday, April the 14th. Once again, the FE Bank text line is back open and operational today after a 2-show hiatus. So thoughts, comments, and questions are welcome at 785-899-2222. Also text the word auction for our radio auction coming up here this Friday, April 17th. You can go there and find the sale bill, which is posted right now at ndbksradio.net and by texting the word auction. Busy day on the local sports calendar today, including Colby High School baseball in action. We're pleased to welcome back to the program head coach for the Eagles in Todd Kane, who joins us on the Hoover Lumber's Hardware Hotline. Good morning, Coach. How are we doing today?
Pretty good. How about yourself?
I'm doing all right. What year is this, Todd, for you as the head man there at Colby?
My third year as a head coach, my 9th year as a coach with the program.
Can you believe it's been 3 years already? It seems like time is just flying.
No, I was actually talking with Coach Branham yesterday, and he was talking about how it was year 3 for him. I was like, well, if it's year 3 for you, that means it has to be year 3 for me.
Yeah, time has been flying, that's for sure. I gotta go back. I've known Todd for a long time. Todd, I gotta go back to your high school playing days. Do you have a memorable game or hit from your high school playing days when you played for Colby High?
I have a few. Had one in a sub-state semifinal, either against Nickerson, I think, possibly. Either way, I was in a bit of a slump, and they walked Braden Sager, the guy before me, to get to me, which is, in baseball terms, the ultimate insult. You're saying we're going to give him an automatic bag instead of giving one to me. And first pitch, just rage swing, took one off the left center wall, made it to second, got everybody in, walked off that game. So that was a memorable swing for me.
No, absolutely, for sure. I remember some big-time hits from you as well. Did you hit a home run down at Hugoton one time in the postseason? I feel like you did. I could be wrong on that thought.
I didn't hit one there. The one I hit double digits in summer ball, but the one in high school that I remember was as a freshman at the Hayes tournament. I hit a grand slam. So for a 15-year-old gangly skinny boy, that was a pretty impactful moment.
Yeah, no one would have thought that Todd Kane was that gangly skinny boy when they see you now. The yoked up young guy, the yoked up guy that you are right now, that's for sure. Todd Kane is our guest here on the Morning Blitz, Colby High School baseball head coach. Coach, talk to me about this season kind of going into it. You know that you graduated some really good pieces. In fact, some guys that went on and played at the next level. You returned some really good pieces, though. What were your thoughts going into this upcoming season for your team that you have currently?
I love my players, so them leaving is more than just losing baseball players. Those are guys I don't get to see every day. But the mindset of a good program has to be, we don't rebuild, we reload. We have ample talent at all levels, and I'm blessed to have guys that genuinely love playing baseball. I don't have to ask them to take the reps. I don't have to ask them to do the work. I just have to provide the work in those reps. We graduated some really talented guys, but we have a sophomore class that filled those roles. We have a senior class that's leading from the front. I mean, I'm the vessel to their success, but they're the ones that do the work and they get the reps.
Yeah, you mentioned a lot of these, you have a great group of older guys and seniors that lead the program. And I was visiting with one of your assistant coaches, Coach Quiggs, about, he's been really impressed with kind of the camaraderie, older guys and young guys. Sometimes you don't get that in high school sports, but it sounds like you guys have had a really good group of guys that really like to play with each other, play together, no matter if it's younger guys or older guys.
Yeah, and I mean, that's just a part of the culture that you got to establish, that we're one collective body, one collective mind. The success at the top is the same as the success at the bottom. Braxton Withington's a notable name, but the expectations are no different for him than the man lowest on the totem pole. And to me, that creates camaraderie because if we're all in it together, then we might as well be in it together. You know what I mean? It's the same at the top as it is at the bottom. If those expectations are consistent, then it yields those positive results.
We're visiting with Todd Kane, Colby High School baseball coach. The Eagles off to what is a 5-4 start. They have a series against Scott City here today. You talk about looking at this season. You guys got off to a great start with a sweep of Goodland, and then you had a couple of games against Russell and Hayes TMP here as of late, and you drop both of those series. What was it like to kind of go through a little bit of early season struggles after some really early season success? And how did you like the guys' response in that come from behind win against Burlington?
I mean, if you look at the box score, those games look like blowouts. But if you're present, we took Russell, one of the top-rated arms and players in 3A, tied through 7. Then both pitchers hit 105. Then next man up, we lose that one. We compete in the next one. You have to learn that in those moments, like in that game particularly, everything adds up. If I wear this pitch and I'm on base, what happens when that next ball's in play? If I dive and save this ball, what happens to the next play? Then we take who I believe is the number 1 team in 2A in TMP. We're up 1-0 all the way through bottom 7. We let one go. Then we take them all the way to 10 before we get blown out. So on paper, that's a blowout. But in reality, that's a highly, highly competitive game where you get to learn lessons, learn about toughness. Next game, we get up 5-0. Then it's 5-3. Then they pass us. You can look at it as a loss, or you can reframe it and look at it as, how do we play with a lead? How do we play not to lose, but continue to play to win? And then in Burlington, you have you see over the last week, you've seen 87, you've seen 85, you've seen 83, now you're seeing 60. How do you adjust? How do you make a play? And we got flat and we got behind. And for the last 4 games, we failed at the end because a loss is a fail, even if there's lessons along the way. But against Burlington, 2 outs, 7, 8, 9, up to hit, get on base, get on base, get on base. Braxton Withington, 2-out hit to left field. Game's over, we win. It's just about exposure to those clutch moments, learning to thrive off pressure instead of folding to it, because the pressure is going to come either way. It's all about your response to it. So while it is 4 losses, and that sucks, because losses affect seeding, affect all those things, but you can either look at it as a loss or look at it as an opportunity to get a little tougher and learn what we might do in that scenario differently down the line.
Do you as a coach like that? Like the fact that you went through this adversity early on? Do you you don't like the losses, obviously, but do you like the fact that you went through that adversity and experienced that?
Absolutely, because if you start the season scoring 25 runs on a team, you think you're God. And then had we played Oberlin respectfully that next game, that's probably 2 more run rules, because that's a young and developing program, which I'm super happy they have. But we got those forfeits, and then your batting average is high, your on-base percentage is high. You think you're invincible, but then you see that you're not, and that you learn that you do have to make adjustments. You do have to go back to work. What can I do differently here? So I'd much rather be humbled early on so you can get the work in and peak at the right time.
Todd Kane is our guest, Colby High School baseball head coach. What have you liked about the team early on, and what are some things you're trying to work on here as you progress through the middle portion of this season to be ready for later on this year?
I would say my favorite part about them thus far is their response to my coaching style. I'm a very positive guy, but I also have high expectations, and when I draw a line in the sand, that's where it is. And these guys respond really well. A lot of people talk about how you can't coach hard in today's current climate, how you can't have high expectations, how you can't really expect them to do the work. But how hard you can coach and the amount you can do is all based on relationships. If that kid knows you love them and you've developed that relationship, you can coach hard and you can have high expectations. And we haven't had guys fold to that. We've had guys rise to meet that expectation, and that's what you want as a coach.
How much have you been impressed with your younger players that are getting kind of their first varsity action that have been able to provide in the lineup and on the mound for you? Have you been how impressed have you been with your younger kids?
Real impressed. We're sophomore heavy. I don't think I've brought Dallas Kleinsberg in to pitch with the bases not loaded in a high pressure situation. I just tell him I want strikes. Corbin Sherman's another young one of the smoothest swings in the game. He's just getting his feet wet and learning how that goes. Connor Surmeyer is as talented as a 16-year-old kid can be. He's learning how to manage that. I got other sophomores that get in and run the bags. And honestly, on 80% of teams we play, nearly everyone in that sophomore class would start. But when you're a part of a talented program, sometimes you sit, sometimes you get in. The biggest thing is that I preach is your response to being in the game versus not. And how, like if you look at the lineup card and your head falls down and you go sit down, to me that means you're not ready. If you look at it, nod at it, say, yep, okay, I'm locked in, I'm ready for when it's my opportunity. That's what I'm receiving and that's what I expect. So I'm really proud of those young guys.
No, absolutely. Todd Kane's our guest, Colby High School baseball coach. The Eagles playing Scott City here this afternoon as they continue their season. You know, we would be remiss if we didn't talk about, you mentioned him earlier, but Braxton Withington, he is one of the better players in the state. Can you talk about just his development from when he started to where he is right now and what kind of player he has become?
I knew he would be hardworking and I knew he would be successful, but I had no idea that this would be the byproduct of his work. I mean, many, myself included, like you can work as hard as you want and still not throw the ball 90 miles an hour. But freshman Braxton is 5'6", 110. Senior Braxton is 6'1", 6'2", 185 with an arm that's a whip. He commands the zone. He knows what teams he wants to beat with his fastball. He knows what teams he wants to beat with his off speed. He locates it. He communicates with his catcher, and he leads from the front. I mean, what else can I ask him to do, really, against one of the best hitting teams that we will see for sure in TMP outside of that first hitter? He throws a perfect game all the way till top of 7. Hits 105. He holds Russell to 1 run, who can also swing it all the way through 7. He's gritty. He's determined, and he's doing what I expect him to do.
You know, you mentioned it a little bit ago, talking about the young players, and of course, you know, talk about Braxton, his development. You know, what do you give credit to this program? You talk about baseball, of course, the great amount of talent that you've been blessed with to coach. What do you give credit to when it comes to that kind of stuff? The youth programs, things of that sort. When you get these kids at your level and they're ready to play,
you have to give credit to the people that poured into the kids before you. And you have to give credit to things like other sports. What are they learning there? Weight room, what are they learning there? With other coaches, what are they learning there? But at the end of the day, the credit has to go to the individual. Everybody goes to practice. Everybody signs up for things, but not everybody puts the work in. So if you're getting those results, that came from your individual work, and your individual work spreads to the next guy and the next guy and the next guy. So while we have great people in the community teaching these kids, doing the right things, the credit goes to the kid that put the work in and is seeing success from it.
He is Todd Kane, Colby High School baseball coach. He's got to get going here in just a little bit. Todd, I got to ask a question. When I knew you initially, you know, you had the short hair, you've gone to the long hair look. How long have you been working on this do?
I mean, I've had long hair most of my adult life, but every 3 or so years, I'll shock the system and cut it all off. So if you see me at the end of the 2-year cycle, my hair's long. If you see me at the beginning, it's short. But yeah, it's long, and my daughter likes it long, and I don't think she'd like if I cut it off. So I just keep it.
She wouldn't know what she's looking at when she saw that without the long hair. I mean, it's got to be about as long as it's ever been. Now I saw you a couple weeks ago. I mean, it's gotten quite long, man.
Oh yeah, it's flowing. But again, that's what she expects, so that's where it's going to be.
It looks good coming out of the back of that ball cap, so, you know, it's all right. Nothing wrong with that. Todd Kane, Colby High School baseball coach. Todd, thank you so much for taking some time, my friend. Best of luck today against Scott City. We'll catch up down the road, my friend.
Awesome. Thank you.
Once again, great stuff there. Todd Kane, Colby High School baseball coach. Great start for, well, I should say the record doesn't show it, but it's been a really good start to the year for Colby Eagle baseball. Like I said, they've really challenged themselves here in the early portion of the season, but they're looking and playing really good ball, and they'll have a good series against Scott City. Scott's a really good team. They'll face them here this afternoon. All right, we'll get to a break. We'll come back. We will wrap up the show with some more what's happening in local sports today, and also another edition of Dear Ross coming at you here on a Tuesday.
Are pests making your home or business with effective, safe, and affordable pest control solutions? Don't wait. Call Pest Away today at 785-728-7166 for fast, reliable service. Your home or business deserves the best protection.
If you're shopping for a banking institution, visit with Equity Bank of Hoxie, Grinnell, and Quinter, Kansas. The Equity Bank is heavily invested in local business and activities contributing in many ways back to their community. Their employees are involved with many organizations and area events. Plus, a lot of experience comes with that staff. You'll find valuable local assistance when you bank at the Equity Bank of Hoxie, Grinnell, Quinter, and other locations in Western Kansas. The Equity Bank, member FDIC.
Looking for insurance that actually puts you first? At the insurance agency in downtown Goodland, we're independent, which means we work for you. Whether it's auto, home, crop, or business, we shop top carriers to get you the best coverage at the best price. No pushy sales, just honest advice from people who live right here in your community. Give us a call today at 785-899-5011 or stop by 1020 Main in Goodland, and let's get you covered. The insurance agency. Insurance the way it should be.
At Coons Russell Funeral Home in Goodland, Kansas, honoring your loved one is what matters most. Every person is different, and so is every goodbye. That's why our team take the time to understand your needs and carry out your loved one's wishes with care. We offer a wide range of resources to support you every step of the way. Coons Russell Funeral Home, compassionate, personalized, and here when you need us. Call 785-890-3900. That's 785-890-3900.
Need a porta potty or septic pumping in Northwest Kansas? Call Topside Portables and Pumping, your local family-owned crew. They've got clean, reliable toilets for weddings, farms, and job sites, plus full septic services, RV waste, fertilizer tanks, and more. Available 24/7, because when nature calls, they answer. Call 785-728-8089. That's 728-8089. Topside Portables and Pumping. Reliable, local, clean.
Breaking down the plays, the players, and the passion.
Who's got it better than us?
This is the Morning Blitz.
Thanks to Todd Kane. Good conversation there. As always, folks, if you miss any portion of the Blitz, you can go back and re-listen on our podcast page. So if you want to miss that conversation with Coach Todd Kane or anybody we talked to, or if you want to hear some more Dear Ross episodes or whatever trips your trigger here on the Morning Blitz, go and download the podcast. Anywhere you get your podcast, it's posted right after the show. Or you can go back and watch on YouTube, too, I guess, if you want to see my smiling mug. Which I don't know why you want to do that. But nonetheless, pushing along here on the Morning Blitz, we will get to a busy local sports day edition of Dear Ross. I did see some interesting news here late last night this morning. I got to give a shout out here. Never dealt with this coach. Did cover a couple of his team's games when I was doing Area Game of the Week. But congratulations on retirement to Hill City boys basketball coach Keith Riley. Keith Riley is retiring after close to 60 years of coaching. 60 years he had been coaching. It's just a little shy of 60, but between 50 and 60 years of coaching basketball at Hill City, all at the same spot. He never left. I would almost guarantee we will not see that happen again, particularly out here in Western Kansas. I don't think we will see that ever happen again, where a person comes and begins their coaching career at a very young age in their 20s and coaches for 50 plus to 60 years, all at the same spot at a small town Western Kansas school. I just don't think we'll see it. And particularly because here's the thing, either they're going to have success and they're going to want to leave to go someplace else, or they're not going to have the success that is needed and they're going to be let go. Can you think about it? 50 plus years coaching at the same school is just remarkable. And to stay through that, there were a lot of good years. I'm sure there were some bad ones, but man, to do it for 50 plus years, that's something. Congratulations to Keith Riley, Hill City boys basketball coach, retiring at the end of this year. Well deserved, sir. Well deserved. Keith Riley retiring. That was an interesting storyline I saw yesterday. All right, speaking of local sports, it's a busy day today in the local sports side of things. I mentioned, of course, Colby High School baseball taking on Scott City. You've got Colby softball taking on Scott City today. So they got a GWAC doubleheader for the Eagles on the diamond. Colby Community College baseball is in action today. They take on McCook. What's scheduled for today? You've got the Goodland Invitational, both in track and field and in golf. The Goodland Golf Invitational taking place at Sugar Hills Golf Club. A lot of area teams will be in attendance there competing in the Goodland Invitational. And the Goodland Track and Field Invitational is getting a little bit bigger. It used to kind of be just, 4 or 5 teams that would show up and play. I think it's getting quite a bit bigger. The Goodland Invitational is. So looking forward to seeing particularly the Goodland Cowgirl track and field team and see if they can continue their winning ways that they have done here early on in this track season. There's also today the Nest City Invitational, which Quinter is scheduled to go to. And so also scheduled for today is the Tri-Plains Brewster Invitational. Where that's taking place, I don't know. It's usually in Colby, but I don't think Colby's track is in very good shape. And so I don't know if they're hosting any events there. I know they're not even hosting the Colby Eagle Invitational this year there at Colby. So I don't know what Tri-Plains Brewster is doing with their track invitation, if they're having it or if it's got postponed. I don't know. You'd have to ask someone who has way more inside information than I do. And then there's also the Waukene Tennis Invitational today, which Goodland and Colby will be in attendance at here today. So anyway, that's what's on the docket here in this one. Let's see here. Unfortunately, we have someone on. I don't know why this happens, but unfortunately, we get our computer screens taken over by people over in our Colby office sometime, and so then I cannot access the computer screen, and so we'll have to wait until they get to a point, I guess, where they want to be. So we were going to do an edition of Dear Ross. I guess we just will not have the music for it. I guess that's what we're going to have to do here today. So let's get to an edition of Dear Ross here. I would love to play the music, but I can't access the computer screen at this point in time, I don't think. Nope, cannot. So let's get to an edition of Dear Ross here on the Morning Blitz. This coming in once again from our text line. It says, Dear Ross, I saw an article that the Kansas City, Missouri state government is working on one last bid to keep the Royals and the Chiefs in the Kansas City Metro. Do you think they're going to be successful, or does Kansas finally get those two teams in state? I think they're partially going to be successful, listener. I think that you're going to see the Chiefs move to Kansas. I think that's going to happen. I think you're going to see them move across state lines and go build a brand new stadium with a brand new practice facility area, this humongous thing. They were going to build it all there next to where Kansas Motor Speedway is. I think you're going to see the Chiefs go there. So I think that's what you're going to see. I think the Chiefs thing is just too far down the road a little bit for that to be changed up. Not that it's that far down the road, but I feel like you're going to see that go to Kansas. The Royals, on the other hand, I could see where they stay in Missouri. I just saw a couple days ago that they have now come up with an idea to put the stadium in Washington Park there in downtown Kansas City. That's what fans want. Fans want. I think fans want. That's also, I think, what ownership wants. They want to have a stadium that's downtown. The Royals want a downtown Kansas City stadium, kind of like what the Rockies have. And so they want that kind of stuff. So I would say more than likely we're going to see the Royals stay on the Missouri side of the river and probably build a a stadium downtown if they can. I think if they had their druthers, that's what they would take. With the sky, with the skyline around it and something like that. They'd like something like that with the Royals. And then the Chiefs are like, we just want to have everything brand spanking new, and we can do it in Kansas, and we have a lot more room to work with. I think we're going to go with that. And I could be wrong on that. I don't want to speak on that. I don't know. I don't know. I thought maybe taxes would be a little bit better in Kansas. Kansas is going to bend over backwards to try to get both of them here. But I think only the Chiefs are probably going to be the ones that come while the Royals stay over there, and they'll have a new stadium downtown. That's my gut thought on that, there, listener. So there you go. Another Dear Ross without music. Once again, had some technical difficulties there, but that'd be my read on the whole scenario with the Chiefs and the Royals. Let's see here. Anything else we can get to real quick before we get to the walk-off? I don't think so. I think we got to get to the walk-off right now. So we will. Let's wrap up the show.
And back lifts his ball high and deep to right. How about a walk-off Grady? Thomas to the 10. Difference going on in New England. They win it on the first play of overtime. Mahomes flings it. It's there. Hardman. Jackpot. Kansas City.
Thank you to listener Steve, FB Bank text line from our good friend in Binkelman. He says, I've enjoyed Dear Ross. Keep up the good work. Thank you, Steve. And yes, good GBR. Nebraska baseball takes on Creighton. Big week for Nebraska baseball. They need to get Creighton this week. They can't afford another loss. They got to beat Creighton, and they got to take 2 out of 3 at minimum against USC, which is going to be very tough to do. Tough week ahead for Nebraska baseball. The NBA playoffs begin here starting tonight. The playoffs get away. I think you watch it on Prime Video. It's the NBA playoff bracket is weird. The play-in games kind of with, even if you lose, you still have a chance to be alive. It's a really weird bracket. You really got to stare at it. You really got to stare at it a long time to understand it. But games tonight include Miami at Charlotte. Portland heading to Phoenix are the games tonight in the 7th versus 8th place NBA play-in game in the West. So that's what's happening tonight in the NBA playoffs, which get underway. If you don't want to watch that, you can listen, of course, to Royals baseball on AM 790 KXXX. The Royals are in Detroit for a series beginning tonight. The Rockies trying to get back to their winning ways. I know that's hard to say, but trying to get back to their winning ways after a sweep this previous time out against the Padres. They are taking on a team they just took down pretty handily. Houston here starting tonight. So there you go. That's what's on tap for baseball. And of course, the local sports calendar packed today. The busiest day of the local sports calendar is this Tuesday. All right, that'll do it for our program today. Thanks again to Todd Kane, Colby High School baseball coach. Good luck to the Eagles today against Scott City. And thanks, of course, to you, to the listeners, our text line. Of course, don't forget, no show Friday with our NWKS radio auction coming up. And make sure you go to nwksradio.net to find that sale bill and mark the items that you're going to want to bid on coming up on Friday. Have a good one. We'll see you back here tomorrow on a Wednesday. It's been the Blitz.
Rocket 102.5 KLOE Goodland, Colby, Burlington.
But that's all right.